going to kick us off with a lovely land acknowledgement put together by our Multicultural Center. We acknowledge that the Clackamas Community College campuses reside on the traditional homelands of the Clackamas, Cascades, and Tumwater bands of Chinooks, as well as the Tualatin and Pudding River bands of Kalapuya and the Northern Molalla people. It is important that we acknowledge the ancestors of this place and to recognize that we are here because of the sacrifices they endure. Without them, we would not have access to this gathering and to this dialogue. Please join us in taking this opportunity to thank and honor the original caretakers of this land, their lives, and their descendants still caring for the land today.
Thank you very much, Lainey. Thank you everyone for being here this morning. And I just want to say hello and welcome to the 2021 State of the College. I want to recognize our board members that are here today and all of our elected officials for taking the time to come meet with us. This presentation is being recorded and it also is available in closed caption. So if you go into the menu on your Zoom, you can turn on the closed captioning if you would like to do that. So I want to thank each of you for taking your time to be with us this morning. Today, I'm going to share with you the impacts COVID-19 has had on the Clackamas Community College, the innovative ways we've adjusted to teach online and serve students remotely, and how CCC may look different in a post-COVID world. So let me first just thank our Board of Education. This is Board Education Appreciation Month, and so we appreciated them with a proclamation at the last board meeting, but these are our 7 elected board members of the college that volunteer their time to oversee everything we do. Thank you for attending this morning. So it has been said far too much, but 2020 was a year like no other. As president of a college with 25,000 students, nearly 1,000 employees, I saw the damage COVID-19, police violence, civil unrest, wildfires, and November's elections had on our community. Prior to last year, many of our students were already on the brink of losing a job or not affording rent or not having enough food on the table. And the events of last year have directly impacted them. People have gotten sick, jobs have been lost, families were evacuated, homes were lost, and children went hungry. We've been hearing this last year that students are feeling anxious and overwhelmed with the state of the world in COVID-19, and that some students just were not interested in taking online classes, and that students were experiencing community or family challenges. They had kids at home who were also learning online, or they worked in the service industry and had increased work hours. As a result, last year, many chose to cut their college education from their load to ease their burden, free up some time and money and reduce stress. As a result, we saw a significant loss in enrollment this past year. But despite all the loss and the pain and the suffering we witnessed and endured last year, many good things came to fruition directly because of the events of 2020. COVID-19 taught us how to be resilient, resourceful, and innovative. We learned new skills, new technologies, and new ways to communicate. After all, who knew how to Zoom even a year ago? And who thought that, that we would go a day now without saying you're on mute? What we've learned this year will help inform our future. In preparation of this morning's address, I asked folks across the college to share with me some of their successes and milestones achieved in 2020. The responses filled more than 13 pages. Wish we had time to showcase all of them this morning, but I am going to highlight some of those successes with you and tell you about the major initiatives we have underway and explore what Clackamas may look like post-COVID. Think back to last March. Seems like forever ago. The move to go online after the governor's declaration of emergency was fast. Governor Brown's declaration was on March 1st, and by April 7th, she'd mandated online learning for the rest of the academic year. We quickly found ways to bring as many classes online for spring term and learned a lot along the way. Many of our faculty had not taught online before. Many of them work in programs that are heavily hands-on and needed assistance in translating that instruction to a remote environment. Our student services staff had to quickly switch all face-to-face service online. We held training sessions, including intensive clinics, Zoom orientations, one-on-one training. We launched a peer mentor program where faculty members helped other faculty members. For students, many were apprehensive about learning online. They preferred the in-person format and felt more comfortable in the traditional setting. Many of their students were not familiar with technology and tools needed to learn remotely. So we upped our student-facing resources and collaborating with our tutoring center to be the first stop for students who need help learning the needed technology program. Okay. By fall term, we had moved as many classes as possible online and developed a return to campus plan that allowed for application for in-person courses. As you can see from the chart, fall term 2020 looked significantly different than fall term 2019. The innovation of our instructors in 2020 is beyond impressive. In our industrial technology department, teachers created their own instructional videos and online lectures and tapped into commercial sites to offer these traditionally active learning labs remotely. Students in industrial maintenance courses, as well as in the sciences, horticulture, and other courses, received lab materials in a lab-in-box format. Physical education classes took their courses online. These classes include cross-training, weight training, Zumba, yoga, self-defense. Instructors showed their creativity in designing classes so students could participate from home. Weight training and cross-training courses included workout plans, lessons on proper technique, tracking and logging of workouts and activity time, and space to share successes. In addition, we developed online exploratory courses, allowing students to try out programs by taking a class that exposed them to a field, such as wildland fire, emergency management, criminology, or public service. By taking an exploratory class, students were able to determine as well as students overcoming barriers is our English as a second language department. These staff and faculty overcame staggering barriers to support their students this term. Prior to spring 2020, they did everything related to their program face-to-face and or by paper, including assessment of students' readiness levels, registration, and instruction. Faculty surveyed over 400 students, placing those that were interested in online courses into classes, calling each student to offer classes and advise them, register them, and email them course information instructions for accessing Moodle. They are to be applauded for their Herculean efforts to provide continuity and learning for our English language learners. Their work was even featured in the state's My Oregon News, which you can see on the screen. The fact is, all of our faculty need to be applauded. Those who thought they couldn't teach online are now pros. CTE instructors found ways to break up courses into smaller modules that can be taught separately. Our full-time and part-time faculty have not only risen to the occasion, but have accelerated up and beyond it. I know how we offer education going into the future will never be the same because of the work, thought, and effort our faculty put into bringing classes online and how to offer them safely in person. Thank you to all of our faculty. Before I dive into how we transition to student services from mostly in-person to virtual, I want to take a moment to share what we heard from our students and what they're experiencing. The survey of community college students in Oregon, released in the spring, found that due to the pandemic, 12% of community college students were homeless, 35% had lost their job or jobs, and 28% saw reduced hours or pay. 47% felt that they could no longer concentrate on their education. 21% did not have a functional laptop or reliable internet access. 39% were taking care of a family member as a result of the pandemic. And 45% applied for unemployment, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, and or emergency aid. Many of our students are hurting. While the jolt of COVID-19 has been felt by all, it has disproportionately affected those who are low income, belong to underrepresented groups, and work in unskilled jobs. These are our students. Knowing this information, we ramped up our student services, our emergency funding, and added any resources we could find. Here are just a few examples of how we improved our processes and increased our communication and outreach to students. Our advising team served nearly 5,000 unique students since March 16th, with an average of each student meeting with an advisor 2.5 times, representing a 6% increase in unique students served over the prior year, the same time frame in 2019-2020. Our Veterans Center was awarded a grant to help improve internal processing time to certify veteran student benefits. Our student onboarding hired the lead college navigator position and began reaching out to over 300 students last June. Students with potentially more barriers who might find navigating college difficult, such as first-generation college students and our underserved students. Our admissions and recruitment office implemented new and easy way for students to sign up for virtual admissions appointments. And we developed new videos in our virtual admissions center, which is accessible on our website at admissions. Like I said, these are just a few examples. Other student services teams like the Career Center, Disability Resource Center, Placement Center, Enrollment Graduation Services, Registration, Financial Aid, all took extraordinary strides to help students. I can't say enough about all these folks working in our student services, so let's take a minute and thank them as well and applaud their excellent work. Our Associate Student Government, and thank you, Lainey, again for leading that during a pandemic. I don't think that's what you signed up for, but I appreciate all of your efforts and the students in student government. ASG worked with the foundation to loan out free Chromebooks to students. This fall, they added Dell laptops for those needing more advanced technology to do their schoolwork. ASG has also been distributing free food boxes every week to students in need. ASG, the Multicultural Center, Peer Assistant Program, continue to offer programs, services, and events in a remote environment, not only providing them leadership opportunities and tuition waivers to those students, but also teaching them new Zoom skills. Currently have between 20 and 25 student leaders, and I want to thank them all for their hard work. Being a student leader during regular terms is a demanding role. Being a student leader during a pandemic and everything else going around us is pretty astounding. This fall, our Multicultural Center set a goal to host 3 programs during fall term. They exceeded that goal and held 4. Those events were a Hispanic Heritage Museum tour, a Pronouns Day workshop, current events discussion on decolonization, and their annual Thanksgiving meal. And the Multicultural Center even sent physical gift boxes to participants for that Thanksgiving meal. Zoom fatigue is real, so getting participants at these events is impressive and demonstrated the desire and need for such activities and programs. Thank you, Multicultural team and ASG. Along with bringing our classes online, we had to figure out how to move other important events and activities virtually. This spring, our always popular Compose Creative Writing Conference moved online and quickly sold out. Our annual fall in-service event kicks off the new academic year. It's a time for all of us to connect and engage to get excited for the new year. We successfully moved that online with a record number of attendees, some even stating it was the best in-service yet. This is one we may consider keeping virtual or hybrid, as it allows more access for people to participate. Each winter, we hold our all-staff recognition awards event, which we call the Clackamas Awards. This too is well attended, with more people participating than our Osterman Theater can hold. But in my opinion, this event is much better live when we can hear the applause and give high fives and hugs. It was still a successful event. Our retiree union invites former CCC employees and gives them a chance to come back to CCC and reconnect with the college and their peers. This year, retirees who typically could not attend because they'd moved away were able to participate because the event was online. We played retiree trivia, told stories, and got to see some faces we haven't seen in quite some time. Departments also took their events online. The art department's been hosting art exhibits and artist talks online. They had one just this week. Arts and scientists hold STEM talks online. They also had one this week. Theater department's holding performances live on social media, and the music department held concerts virtually. Here's just a short clip from the fall music concert. Graduation was another dilemma to solve. Each June, we hold a GED adult basic education ceremony and a degree and certificate ceremony. These two events are my favorite time of the year. Our students have overcome so many obstacles on the way to earning their degrees. Joy and celebration expressed at these events is like nothing I've seen, and it's inspiring to see it all. I enjoy seeing the families, the children, and friends coming together to celebrate their success. We surveyed our 2020 grads and asked them if they'd preferred for graduation an online ceremony or if they wanted to wait till next year to celebrate. And they told us clearly they did not want either of those things. So we came up with a third option, a drive-through graduation. Students were able to participate in a car parade on campus, get out of their cars, have their names called as they cross the stage, and get their photo taken while their friends and family watched from their vehicles. Staff and faculty stood in the pouring rain for 4 hours, helping graduates and cheering them on. There were many logistics to coordinate for this event. I'm impressed by and grateful for everyone who made it come together. I heard so many positive comments on our graduation, some saying it felt more intimate than our usual standard graduation. Last year, we awarded 1,207 degrees and certificates, 244 GEDs, and 11 adult high school diplomas. Our youngest graduate was 16, and our oldest was 76. Our graduation team is currently planning what this year's event will look like. No matter how we do it, no matter the weather, we will work to make this day a memorable one for our graduates. I want to show you just a short clip from our graduation. Song in the background is performed virtually by our music department and our students. Little did we know it would be pouring down rain the entire day, so there's some irony that you'll catch when you hear the song. But I want to thank Dr. Hollingsworth and the choir for putting the music together for the graduation. Congratulations, class of 2020. Well done.
Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright. Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright. Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright.
It was pretty great. I think some of us are still trying to dry out from that June ceremony, but pretty awesome time. As we witness across the board, Zoom fatigue has affected everyone, and that's true for our high school students. About 20% of our overall enrollment are high school students. Despite the move to learning online, high school students still registered for more than 40,000 credits last year. Last spring, our High School Connections team moved their popular spring and summer programs online, and they've been able to maintain and even increase our partnerships last year. We've added art and business classes at Beaverton High School. We've added a program at Centennial High School, at Elmira High School, Marshfield High School, and additional courses at Metro East Web Academy. Interestingly, we've seen growth in our expanded options program, where students actually come directly to our CCC campus online as opposed to taking them into their high schools. Expanded options was up 13% in the fall, and it's currently up 24% this winter compared to last year. And to help those hardest hit by the wildfires in our area, we were able to offer free college credit through a grant for high school students in Colton, Estacada, and Molalla. I want to give special thanks to the High School Connections team, as they've had to double their efforts to get high school students to register for classes, given the challenges of being in a remote environment. Your work is much appreciated. Thank you. Should come as no surprise that paying for college is one of the biggest obstacles for our students. Though we're proud to be one of the more affordable colleges in the metro area, the cost of tuition, fees, books, and supplies adds up quickly. Thankfully, the CCC Foundation has a robust scholarship program. This academic year, the foundation awarded well more than $700,000 in scholarships to students, which is more than we've ever given before. 361 scholarships were given. Some students may have been awarded more than one scholarship. Average award was $2,161, nearly half the annual tuition for a full-time student. It's a huge financial relief for many students, and nearly 50% of our applicants this year received a scholarship. And I know that they're not resting on that. They'd love to see that number go to up to maybe even 75% of every student getting a scholarship, if not more. To make these scholarships happen, our foundation relies on the generosity of our donors. In 2020, the total funds raised was an incredible $2,446,468. Despite everything 2020 threw at us, it was the foundation's best funding year in nearly 2 decades. Last year, donors provided a record-breaking amount of student scholarships, emergency funds, and program support for the college. The foundation acted quickly last spring to create a COVID-19 relief fund. $190,000 was raised to support students displaced by COVID-19. Partnership with Student Services, ASG, and CCC instructors, over 450 students were supported through this fund. In December, the Oregon City Elks Lodge donated over 600 pounds of non-perishable food and toiletries to the CCC Free Food Pantry. They'll be working with the CCC Foundation to provide a cash donation to purchase fresh foods to supplement the non-perishable donation. Thank you to the Elks Lodge. And though we are saddened that the World of Speed Automotive Museum in Wilsonville closed its doors due to COVID-19, the partnership with CCC lives on through donated automotive equipment and a stunning $375,000 financial gift to help automotive students start and finish their education. Picture here is automotive instructor Jay Luke when he's picking up a load of donations from World of Speed. And you can't see it because he's got a mask on, but I think he's got a pretty big grin right there. Way to go, foundation team. Huge thank you to all of our donors. You help make the difference on whether or not a student will succeed at CCC. In 2020, CCC was awarded 17 new grants, totaling more than $3.3 million. That's 4 grants more than the previous year, nearly $400,000 more than last year. We were awarded grants at the city level. Thank you, Oregon City. The county level, thank you, Clackamas County, the state level, and the federal level. Grants range from helping build wraparound services for our students to helping rural farmers get renewable energy. We received a grant to help veterans and a grant to attract more people to become teachers, including native Spanish speakers, which is one area we'll definitely see continued demand for post-COVID. We received a grant to pilot a Job Corps Scholars Program through the U.S. Department of Labor. I want to give thanks to Clackamas Workforce Partners, with whom we partner on many grant proposals, including the Job Corps grant, the Strengthening Community Colleges grant, the Strategic Innovation COVID Response grant, supporting our health sciences program, and the National Dislocated Worker grant, supporting our wildland fire program. With the tight budget Clackamas Community College has, these grants help us innovate, expand our offerings, assist the community, and adapt to changing needs in the community. Writing grant applications and executing them takes a lot of time and energy. So many thanks to our grants administrator, Amy Kanata, the grant implementation teams who do the work, and everyone who's participated in the grant process last year. They do deserve a lot of credit. Amy and the faculty and everybody that works on these deserve a lot of credit. We learned actually just yesterday that we got a $300,000 grant from PGE that allow us to expand our electronic vehicle program in automotive and add more charging stations for vehicles on campus. So continue to do fantastic work. Thank you. This is a cool grant that we continue to keep talking about. We're actually into our 3rd year of the Metallica Scholars Grant. 2018, we were awarded a $100,000 scholarship from the band's All Within My Hands Foundation. We were awarded another round of $50,000 at the end of 2019 in partnership with the CCC Foundation. We've been dedicating the funds to help students in our heavy metals programs of welding, automotive, and industrial technology, assisting with the purchase of the equipment and personal protective equipment needed for their studies. One of the first class of students to return back to campus for in-person classes this summer was a welding class of Metallica scholars. Their instructor, John Phelps, said those students would not have been able to take the class without Metallica Scholar funds to purchase the tools they needed. Also, thanks to this grant, the students had welding respirators, providing 99% filtration of airborne particles, protecting them from fumes and COVID-19. This summer, Metallica singer and guitarist James Hetfield used his time off sheltering in place to work on his own welding skills and crafted a set of tables. He raffled those off for about $75,000. CCC was one of 3 schools nationally to receive a portion of this funding. This is a short news clip that shares a little bit more information about that activity.
Yeah, good morning, Jenny. Some good news for your Wednesday morning. Clackamas Community College has continued to receive support from Metallica. The college already received a $100,000 grant from the band's foundation for 2 years in a row, and now they're getting additional funds thanks to proceeds from Hetfield's project dubbed the COVID Collection by JH. From heavy metal music to heavy metal welding, Metallica frontman James Hetfield recently auctioned off his handmade one-of-a-kind coffee tables, raising $75,000 to support students in career and technical education programs.
With the funding that we received, our students are able to have their own tools, own PPE, and able to start their careers.
Clackamas Community College was selected as one of 3 colleges to receive $25,000 of the proceeds through the Metallica Scholars Initiative.
That is the opportunity to keep recognizing the students and the need for our economy to have these trained welders.
Last spring, the college received a $100,000 encore grant from the heavy metal band's All Within My Hands Foundation. CCC Dean Cynthia Risen says the college will use the funds donated to help purchase additional tools, textbooks, and provide career coaching for more low-income students taking heavy metal courses in manufacturing, automotive, and welding.
The second you put tools in their hands and they own them, so many students said, I feel so much more confident even right now.
It's really been life-changing for me.
Jessica Jones is a Metallica scholar studying welding at CCC. In April, she landed a job with a welding metal fabrication business and says she's grateful to the iconic band's program for providing her with the essential tools.
I felt so grateful to have the tools that I had to be able to get me my foot in the door.
The college will use the extra funds to continue to support students like Jones.
I went from being a welding student to feeling like a real welder.
When we say this money helps students succeed, we mean it. We use some of that extra funding to award tuition to 2 welding students, both of whom are veterans, who are out of Veterans Administration funding, out of work, and out of options because they could not enroll classes due to past due tuition and fees. Because of the Metallica Scholars Program, they were both able to continue. One has now finished his AAS degree and is working as a welder. The other is 95% complete. We've seen amazing results in this program. Hope we can continue our partnership with the All Within My Hands Foundation. They've been great to work with. Now, if I can just convince them to come play a concert in the quad, I think we'll consider this a huge success.
Yeah, good morning, Jenny. Some good news.
Before I move into how CCC may look post-COVID, I want to share a couple additional highlights from 2020. First, our wrestling team. Just prior to when we went remote last March, our nationally renowned wrestling team won the National Junior College Athletic Association National Championship for the 2nd year in a row. Way to go, Cougars. And even though they can't practice as normal right now, they, like all of our teams, are still planning on hopefully playing a few games and contests this spring, if allowed. I want to give kudos to the entire athletic department who've been working to accommodate the changing CDC guidelines while still giving our athletes the opportunity to train, practice, and hopefully compete. In early December, the Daily Journal of Commerce named our expansion of Desjardins Hall as a 2020 top project. It took 3rd place in the secondary education category. The 22,000 square foot space offers expanded collaboration space, wet lab support services, and research lab space. In addition, the project included a 19,220 square foot phased renovation of the existing Desjardins Hall with new office space for science faculty and updates that seamlessly tie the new and old together in a coherent manner. This project was completed in 2019, and I'm sure I speak for the science faculty and students in that it'll be a great day when we can get back into Desjardins. The CCC nursing students have been assisting in giving flu vaccines through Clackamas County Public Health, like drive-through clinics at Canby Fairgrounds and other venues, including 6 days at the Portland VA Hospital. On the screen is a photo from when our nursing students were administering flu shots at the Canby Fairgrounds. I'm told it was an amazing scene. Torrential rain. You can hear the theme here now. All our events seem to have this torrential rain lately. Little events where they had supplies, students running out to cars and giving vaccines through windows. Some cars had 7 people to vaccinate, all while it was pouring. I want to commend these students and their dedication to their profession. Nursing students also served at Rosehaven, a day shelter for women and children that has remained open throughout COVID. And although they had to move all of their guest services outside of the sidewalk, nursing students are providing first aid, teaching, and providing human connection. Once vaccines are available, these students are ready to assist with the COVID vaccinations. Thank you to our nursing department and our nursing students. This fall, as wildfires swept across the state of Oregon, including Clackamas County, CCC stepped up to do what it does best, serve our community. The fire's earliest stage, our Oregon City campus served as a Red Cross site, evacuation site for those needing to leave their homes. Campus was soon filled with trucks, trailers, RVs, sorted farm animals, and pets. Cots are set up in the college's gymnasium for those seeking a place to rest. Food was offered, not only by the Red Cross, but by people in the community bringing in pizzas, breakfast sandwiches, and even a hot dog truck. When Oregon City was placed in a level 2 wildfire zone, the Red Cross had to move its site from the campus. However, that made room for first responders to set up a fire camp at the college. More than 250 firefighters from all over the state used the CCC campus as a place to shower, rest, sleep, and fuel up after working 12-hour shifts. As we have a wildland fire program at CCC, some of our own faculty and students were out fighting those fires. Thanks to the support of the community, the college's foundation raised $25,000 in 14 hours to provide warm meals for the firefighters. College opened up its cafe, fed the first responders hot breakfasts and dinners, gave them sack lunches to take out in the field. CCC volunteers set up coffee stations, served hot coffee in the mornings and evenings. I want to give a huge shout out to our campus services, our college safety, our facilities for all the extra hours and service they put in during the wildfires. You really went above and beyond. Thank you. So 2020 is over and in our rearview mirror. COVID vaccines are starting to be distributed. And I want us to start thinking about what CCC may look like this year, next year, 5 years from now. What are the positive lessons we've learned during this pandemic that we want to continue? How will instruction, student services, facilities use be different? What does a post-COVID Clackamas Community College look like? I believe one way is that we need to develop even stronger ties to our community. We have some exciting new partnerships and offerings that go beyond earning degrees and getting jobs. We're thinking about how we can support the community with housing, food insecurity, lack of access to quality healthcare. We're looking to be a resource for entrepreneurs. We're seeking new ways to serve the community, to serve the growing diversity of our district. One of these is our new partnership with Clackamas Volunteers in Medicine. This is a local free clinic, completely free clinic, located about a mile from the college that needs to vacate their space by 2022. Their director, Martha Spears, who may be in the audience today, met with me a little over a year ago and talked about the possibility of moving onto campus. I was excited about this opportunity as I think it provides two really important connections to our mission. The first is that many of our students would be able to take care of this free healthcare once the clinic is up and running on our campus. Secondarily, our health sciences students would be able to get some practical time in the clinic and be able to assist and be able to help with the volunteer. It's completely a volunteer-run clinic with doctors and nurses and everybody. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity for us. We're in the middle of just starting fundraising to help them do the remodeling. They're going to be in the Claremont Hall on the end where the Communications for Business and Industry offices are located now. We've got some time, as I said, into 2022 when they need to be out, but we need to diligently work on making this a success so they can come in and help our students and our campus and our community. Thanks to the generosity of a longtime entrepreneur, we're opening a makerspace in the Industrial Technology Center on our Oregon City campus. The space was designed for use by students through multiple programs and community members and employers. Makerspace provides opportunities for exploration, skill building, and business development. An industrial workshop like this does not exist anywhere in Clackamas County. We're treating this makerspace like a startup with the assumption that sustainability can be achieved as news of its presence in the community generates greater demand. Sustainability will be based on this growing demand, creating financial resources through college support, donations, and user fees. The new makerspace is named after the late Les Diasis, entrepreneur and founder of Benchmade Knives, a longtime supporter of the college. To ensure the makerspace is accessible and affordable to all people in the community, Benchmade and the Diasis family have donated equipment and funds to the CCC Foundation. The naming of the makerspace after Les is fitting, as he started his business designing and making knives in his garage. Benchmade knives are now coveted around the world. Executives at Benchmade and the Diosys family are thrilled by the vision of the Les Diosys Makerspace, generating over $100,000 in donations to fund equipment purchases and program needs. We look forward to opening this makerspace when we can safely do so. As our college district's demographics continue to grow and change, we're creating new ways to prepare students for success. We know more and more residents in Clackamas County speak Spanish as their first language, and so we're increasing our offerings in Spanish. We were recently awarded a Grow Your Own grant from the Oregon Department of Education. This grant will be used to grow the number of teachers in our region. An additional goal of the grant is to recruit future teachers who reflect the diversity found within our community. Using these funds, we're developing a Spanish language early childhood education program. We also launched this year an introductory math course taught in Spanish. The course is geared toward career technical education students and focuses on critical thinking and problem solving. By teaching the course in a student's native language, we're removing a potential barrier to success. Navigating the college system can be difficult, especially if you're the first in your family to attend and if English is not your first language. To assist these students, we've created what we're calling a navigator position. Navigators provide direct service, support to students seeking to get started at CCC. Using a case management model, this person provides information, tools, and support to students with completing the getting started steps required to enroll at CCC, like placement, registration, financial aid, etc. We have hired a bilingual navigator, which will greatly help students. A final example of building new pathways is our Small Business Development Center, which offers a variety of resources to help businesses start, grow, and thrive. Critical importance right now as we come out of this pandemic. SBDC offers a range of classes, including prep courses for certifications. They're now offering several of these courses in Spanish with amazing success and excellent passage rates. As community colleges strive to meet the needs of our marginalized populations, we hear from business and industry partners who are desperate for a skilled workforce. This workforce will be essential to ride out the pandemic-created recession and get the state back on stable economic footing. CCC's tagline is education that works. We take that seriously. Our job is to educate students for the workforce. We're also here to bolster those businesses in the county who have been hurt by the pandemic. We have resources to help businesses start up, start over, and grow. To the businesses that partner with us, who hire our students and support our programs through donations and serving on our committees, thank you. If you don't see your organization's logo on this list or know someone who should be on it, let me know. I always like seeing more logos show up on this page. After learning how to work and teach online over the course of last year, some may be thinking, do we still need brick and mortar buildings? Can't we reduce our footprint, take everything virtual? In my opinion, there's always going to be a place for brick and mortar and for buildings. Our future nurses, CNC machine operators, electrical engineers, welders, mechanics, biologists, chemists will always learn better in person when they can learn hands-on and learn together. What we do best at the college is blend this face-to-face instruction with quality online experiences. This will not go away as we look toward the future. In November 2014, voters in the Clackamas Community College District approved a $90 million bond measure, which was then bolstered by $32 million in state matching funds, other grants, along with interest and bond premiums now totaled more than $138 million. In that time, we've been using that funding to update and expand the college. Though these projects have been in progress for several years, they provide opportunities for the college post-COVID and help prepare us for the future. You can see on this slide the phenomenal activity that's been happening, and those of us on campus have witnessed this over the last several years. There's always something going on in construction on the campus and continually on one of our campuses. 2016, we started with Harmony West, located on our campus in Milwaukie. We've been in construction mode ever since. Projects including modernized labs and classrooms, expanded program spaces, upgraded infrastructure, and improved how students navigate our campuses. We've contributed to the new Myers Road project and rebuilt Douglas Loop. The Welcome Center, the final building and project on campus, in connection to the 2014 bond, broke ground on March 13th, just a week before we went remote. This building will serve as the front door to our college and will house the majority of college student services. We're intentionally creating a space where students can have most of their questions answered in one setting rather than moving to different offices or between buildings. College is also remodeling the existing community center to provide a facelift for admissions, associated student government, the Career Center, Disability Resource Center, Multicultural Center, and the Veterans Center. The improved community center will create better study spaces for students, as well as easier access to the Cougar Cafe. At the end of September, the college and Welcome Center construction partners topped out the building. Topping out is a builder's right, traditionally held when the last beam is placed atop a structure during its construction. A beam was painted blue, along with the logos of the college, the architect, the contractor, and the program manager. All college staff and faculty, as well as members of the project teams, were invited to sign the beam, whose final home is in the roof of the second floor over the west entrance to the Welcome Center. Here's where we are as of last week with the Welcome Center. The Wachino Welcome Center and Community Center renovations are on schedule for opening this summer. Staff were able to accelerate the construction schedule by vacating and emptying the community center 6 months early, allowing both to be completed simultaneously. The contractors completed most of the demolition in the community center. This afternoon, the passageway from the community center to the Welcome Center will be opened to formally connect the two. When complete, these facilities will provide a one-stop for all student services. Partnering with the Grants Office and other CCC employees, the foundation was able to secure a $500,000 donation from the Sunderland Foundation to purchase new furniture for our Welcome Center. Though we won't be having a grand opening celebration like we've had for other bond projects, we're working on a virtual ribbon cutting. And I hope to have a community-wide event summer of 2022 to thank the community for supporting the bond and the college. Maybe that's the time we can get Metallica to come play. I'm particularly excited and proud to announce the name of our Welcome Center. After a long, inclusive process involving the campus and discussions with the Grand Ronde tribe, the name is now officially the Wachino Welcome Center, after Chief Wachino of the Clackamas people. And I want to just highlight the middle of this here that says, these customs include the obligations of the people of a place to be good hosts by welcoming and caring for their guests. So the fact that we're naming this after Chief Wachino is follows along the tradition of being good hosts and being good welcoming. So calling it that at the Welcome Center just seems very, very fitting. So here's how you can help us think about a post-COVID world. Clackamas Community College began work this past year on a 5-year strategic plan, which will serve the college through the year 2025. The plan will provide direction for the college and help inform services and programs we should be providing, how to fully integrate into the community, and how to prepare students for the careers of the future. The plan will help us define who we want to be, how we're going to get there, along with defining what we should be doing, what we need to stop doing. The plan will serve as a reference point when we work through the budget process each year, ensuring we align resources with what is most mission critical. To provide the greatest value in a rapidly changing environment, it's crucial we establish clear priorities and strategies to guide our decision-making, investments, and programs. Strategic planning requires us to be a purposeful institution and make choices. Over the course of last summer and fall, the college's planning team connected with more than 130 members of our college community, including many of you, for interviews and focus sessions. An additional 500 plus members of the college community and Clackamas County completed surveys that helped us consider challenges and opportunities that lie in front of us. Based on the input gathered, we put together an insight report capturing key themes to inform the college's next strategic plan. You can find that report on our college's website. The 6 themes that emerged are: Clackamas Community College's culture is strongly student-centered. College has an opportunity to think comprehensively about the best ways to provide holistic support for the needs of 21st century learners. Second, to remain relevant and responsive to the evolving needs of the community, college needs to continue to innovate and focus on quality teaching and learning. Third, Clackamas Community College has an opportunity to lead in diversity, equity, inclusion work, both internally through greater alignment and externally as a community convener. Fourth, Clackamas Community College is one of the community's best kept secrets. This limits its reach. 5, strengthening relationships, improving systems and processes, building change resilience will better position the college for the future, including successful implementation of the strategic plan. And finally, 6, state funding, the COVID-19 pandemic and decreased enrollment are impacting Clackamas Community College's budget and ability to deliver on its mission. Next, the college begins the process of translating these themes and the rest of the content from the Insight Report into an updated vision, mission, and set of strategic priorities. We'll be sending out a brief survey in mid-February to gather input on drafts of these updates. We want to know if these elements of the plan are clear, if they resonate, and if they capture the direction you'd like to see CCC heading. If you receive the survey, I encourage you to take the time to complete it. Your input is valued and will be used. I'd like to thank everyone who's participated so far in the strategic planning process. It's a big lift, but it'll help shape our future and the work that we do. We're in our 3rd year of our Guided Pathways transformation. One way we're planning for the future of CCC is by adopting a Guided Pathways framework. This is a national movement for community colleges, and CCC is one of the first in Oregon to begin a full-scale redesign of how we align programs, offer services, and ensure our students have a seamless path for completing their goals. Colleges across the country that have adopted Guided Pathways have been proven to close equity gaps and increase graduation rates. Simply put, Guided Pathways is a student-centered approach that helps get students on a path, stay on a path, and complete a path, creating a pipeline to jobs in Clackamas County. Part of this approach is to help students identify their areas of study early so they aren't wasting time and money taking courses that don't go toward their goals. When students apply to CCC, they will need to select an educational focus area, which are broad buckets of similar programs and represented by the icons on the screen. When students identify an educational focus area, they will then be able to explore programs within that focus area while taking classes that count toward the degrees and certificates within the EFA. Some recent milestones: students now choose their educational focus area as part of their application to the college. Each of these EFAs has been assigned a professional advisor. Web pages have been created for all the EFAs with course maps for their first term. And each of these EFAs has an introductory EFA 101 class that were launched this fall. Teams across the college have been working for the last few years on Guided Pathways and have made great progress. Can't wait to see the results of all that work. Thank you to our Guided Pathways Task Force, subcommittees, everyone else has been dedicated to guiding this work. Thank you. Last spring, the college adopted the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Strategic Plan, which is a written commitment to making the college more equitable and inclusive. We're now excited to be moving into the implementation phase of this plan. The plan touches on all corners of the institution, and members of the DEI committee are looking forward to collaborating with everyone on each of the action items in the plan. Recent milestones include the DEI committee adopting an interim equitable decision-making framework, allowing the college to apply a framework to our shared culture. This helps bring us closer to developing a DEI framework for CCC. Members of the DEI committee have received training on this and are able now to train others on its use. And a search committee has been established for the position of Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer, and I believe actually that position closes today. Recruitment process will take place over the next several months. With everything going on, of course, we're responding to a number of different budget impacts. Our federal stimulus funding, last spring, our CARES Act brought in $862,000 for student pass-through grants directly to students and $949,000 to help the institution for impacts related to remote learning. The most recent CRRSA, C-R-R-S-A-A funding is expected to bring in $862,000 again in student pass-through grants and up to $4.7 million in institutional funds to help offset impacts and lost revenues related to COVID-19. So we're very grateful for that increase in funding in the second stimulus package. Our tuition enrollment has been down. It was down 11% for 2019-20, primarily due to our spring term. In the pandemic, we were down 32%. Currently, our FTE is trending downward anywhere from 20 to 24% each term. And our tuition revenues are down $3 million from prior year projections since the pandemic. Our state funding for 21-23, our next biennium, which is we're working on right now, proposed by the governor, is $641 million. This is what's considered flat funding from the last biennium. It's what all the community colleges received from the last one. It's also a starting point where we're going to continue to look to expand that. Expenses have risen over 8% during that same time period, so we cannot have flat funding from the state if we're going to continue to grow and innovate. Because of the pandemic, we had a number of college-wide savings, over $1 million in budget savings between holding positions vacant, utility savings from not having staff and students on campus, and materials and supplies from day-to-day operations. So as I said, we can't afford to sit back and accept that $641 million for community colleges is enough. So our ask at the state this year is for $702 million for the state to fund us. So prior to COVID-19, even before any of this happened, we were working to close a nearly $5 million budget gap in the 3-year forecast, as we've been operating in a deficit for several years. The $640 million in state funding in the current biennium, combined with some budget reductions, had us moving in the right direction. To continue in this direction and be prepared for the uptick in enrollment we know is coming once there's a viable vaccine, the CCCs have asked the Community College Support Fund, CCSF is how you may hear it referred to, from the state for $702 million next biennium. Traditionally, in times of recession, Oregonians turn to community colleges to either train up or retrain. Our state's community colleges, if adequately funded, can help every Oregon industry and community by upskilling workers in a relatively short amount of time, improving the English skills of non-native speakers, and connecting Oregonians hardest hit by the pandemic with crucial resources to meet their basic needs. As the state grapples to balance the budget, we're asking legislators to finance Oregon's community colleges so we can design and deliver classes and programs to meet industry demand in the safest post-COVID manner possible. Such funding is an investment in Oregonians' futures and in enduring health and wellness of our state. As Oregon shifts its focus toward economic recovery, I want to remind everyone that community colleges are countercyclical, and that during times of recession, we are laser focused on worker retraining. During the last recession, we saw enrollment gains of 10 to 20% every year. We were offering welding classes at midnight because that was the only time we had space for them. I encourage you to think of community colleges as economic first responders. Yes, enrollment is down right now, but we expect it to inflate, and probably quickly, as we start to recover from the pandemic. We can be nimble in our training programs and pivot where industries need trained workers the most. The lessons learned during the pandemic will only help us be more nimble and adaptable. As many of you know, CCC has an impact not only for the students who attend our college, but also in the county economy and workforce. And we're worth the investment. Taxpayers provided CCC with $61.4 million of funding in fiscal year 2018-19. In return, they will benefit from added tax revenue stemming from students' higher lifetime earnings and increased business output, amounting to more than $93 million. Reduced demand for government-funded services in Oregon will add another $7.3 million in benefits to taxpayers. For every dollar of this support, taxpayers see a cumulative return of $1.60 over the course of the students' working careers, in the form of higher tax receipts and avoided costs. Over the years, students have studied at CCC and entered or re-entered the workforce with newly acquired skills. Today, thousands of these former students are employed in Clackamas County. The average income of someone with an associate's degree in Clackamas County is $39,300, which is 38% more than a person with a high school diploma. But finally, I want us all to remember our purpose, why we're really here. And that's for students. So here's just a few reasons why we all do what we do.
Hi there, my name is Mia Carroll, and I'm a first-year CCC student, and I just wanted to give thanks to all the staff and the faculty members for helping us with our education. I'm excited about attending CCC is being able to do classes that are the same as like at other colleges, but at a fraction of the cost. I think that's really cost efficient.
And I also wanted to thank Orion, who's the lead admissions counselor at CCC. She's been awesome and super helpful for me. Whenever I've had a question, she has helped me out, and that's awesome. And I'm really excited to be attending CCC. I think it's a great stepping stone to the rest of my future. I'm hoping to be a marine biologist.
What excites me about Clackamas Community College was that during my orientation and interview, the folks within the department just seemed so passionate and dedicated to the students and seeing us all succeed, which I still feel that they do, and they still show us every day that they're teaching.
Everyone at CCC has been so supportive, starting with my wonderful instructors in the WET program, also the whole ecosystem at CCC. At any point that I've needed any guidance, I mean, it could be from the library, the counselor, the financial aid, bookstore, like anywhere I've gone on campus when I was physically on campus, or emailed with someone in this new remote world we're in. Everyone's been really helpful.
In the beginning, I studied in the ESL classes at CCC and tried to improve my English in order to get a job. But now, with your kindly support and help, I am starting to take college classes.
I also wanted to give a shout out to Jim and Frank from the horticulture department, who have made tremendous efforts to help me in my classes, not be afraid to let me do things, to try things out, because seeing for me is different. It's not with my eyes, it's seeing with my hands, or my knowing, or knowing information. It's seeing without seeing. And in the horticulture field, that might seem impossible. But because of people like Frank and Jim and my other support team, it's becoming more possible.
I'd like to say thank you to a couple of really important people on my education journey, which would be John Phelps and Jody Stapleton. I'm really grateful for the both of them, and I think that what they do for their students is amazing, and I want to say thank you to you guys both. Thank you. Also, I'd like to say thank you to the Tech Hire and Metallica Scholar Program, Tom Brown and Brenda Wheeler. You guys are awesome, and I'm so grateful to have the support that I've had with the Metallica Scholarship. I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, because you guys do a lot of wonderful things for students, not just myself, but for a lot of people.
I am currently attending Clackamas Community College for their welding program, and that excites me because it is close to home, and they love the work one-on-one with you, so I can learn more.
You are supporting the dreams of hopefully a soon-to-be pediatric oncologist nurse. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, CCC. I'm truly thankful.
And I can promise that I'm going to work really hard and strive after my goals of being an engineer. So thank you so much.
So again, I want to acknowledge that 2020 was a difficult year in many ways, and that many people are still struggling. But I don't want to lose sight of all that we accomplished in 2020. And I'm confident we're going to recover and be a stronger institution because of it. I'm proud to work with the staff and faculty at CCC. You're some of the most caring, dedicated, passionate people I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And I just thank you all for the work that you do every day for our community and our students. CCC is an amazing organization that transforms lives every day, and I'm fortunate to be leading it. And I want to thank each and every one of you who came out today. Be well and go Cougars. Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you soon.